Well. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a brand new day. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Mike. And before I even say anything else, this video will contain spoilers for Spider-Man Brand New Day. So if you haven't seen the movie, make sure you share that to the watch later. You come back, you have a good time with me, all right? I'm in everybody's favorite spot today. It's very sunny outside. I had to find a spot with some shade, and I'm happy I did. But we're gonna split this Spider-Man review up into, a few different sections. I'm gonna talk about what I like, what I didn't like. I'm gonna talk about, some of the characters, the actors, and whatnot. And it's a review. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, and we're gonna get straight into it. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought this movie was fire. I thought it was amazing. Going into this movie, the only spoiler that I had was that Jean Grey was in the movie and that she was being played by Sadie Sink. And before I even really talk about the movie for real, it's two things that need to be said. Number one, Sony, y'all gotta be better with protecting y'all stories. I feel like the same thing happened back in 2021 with No Way Home. They leaked that Toby and Andrew was coming back way before the movie even came out, and I think that that's something that if you were able to stay away from that before the movie came out, I think that that would have probably made the experience 1,000 times better. And I believe the same exact thing. I feel the exact same way about Jean Grey. Like I said, I think that on top of that as well, I think the trailers also reveal a lot. Now that I've seen this movie twice, if you go back and you watch the first trailer, it literally bar for bar shows you almost exactly what happens in the movie without telling you what happens in the movie. And I don't know. I mean, most MCU movies have been like that recently. And, I don't want to say I blame Sony, but I hold Sony accountable, because if you don't know how, the Spider-Man movies work in the MCU, Marvel Studios doesn't really well, Sony handles most of this stuff. Spider-Man is a Sony IP, but Marvel Studios does handle a good amount of it, but a lot of this still falls on Sony. You get what I'm saying? So, but I still think it was a great movie nonetheless. Did it ruin my experience? Nah, because truthfully, everybody knew that she was Jean Grey for the last year and a half. She was even confirmed to be in Secret Wars as well. So, I mean, I feel like that pretty much, it wasn't a lot of other people that she could have been. I thought that she was going to be, I believe the mutant's name is Firestar or Firestarter. She basically has a very, very similar backstory to Peter Parker in the MCU, and I think that they made Jean Grey's story the same exact way. But nonetheless, to get on to the next point that I want to make as well, please, for the love of God, if you are going to go see this movie or any movie for that matter, wait until you are in your car and away from the movie theaters to start talking about this movie. Bro, literally the night the movie came out, I went to go see it with the homies. Shout out to the homies. I love y'all. Y'all know who y'all are. I jump out the car. As I'm jumping out the car, getting ready to maneuver towards the movie theater, some dude on his phone talking about the movie. Bro, get in your car, go home, bro. Then I finally get up to the movie theater. Dude's outside the movie theater talking about the movie. I get in, I get my eats, feel me? I get my snacks or whatever. I'm waiting for the last homie to show up. Dude just walking out the movie talking about the movie. Bro, y'all gotta hold on to it, bro. Trust me, I understand. Spider-Man gotta be movie of the summer, if not the Odyssey, which I haven't seen the Odyssey yet as well, too. I've been trying to see that in IMAX, but it looked like I'm gonna have to just bite the bullet and just go see it in I don't know, D-Box or something like that. Who knows? But y'all gotta protect it too. As fans, y'all gotta do better. We gotta do better with making sure that people could still go see a story that they like and be surprised. That's part of the movie experience as well. But enough of the yapping, man. Let's get into the movie, bro. Beautiful day outside. So, yeah, like I said, man, the movie was amazing. And truthfully, I think that this movie was shot, incredibly well. I think even in the trailers, when you look at this, when you look at the movie, it just has a very different look, not only from the Spider-Man movies, but just the entire MCU and as a whole. And I'm pretty sure, I think one of the bigger things for them was quality over quantity. And you could tell, it's so many shots in this movie of, the action, just the New York landscape, and just the, I think Destin Daniel Cretton I hope I said his name right, bro. Like, if you need a water, you need me to go catch a body or something, bro, you did your thing with this movie, gang. I'm gonna be 100% real with you. Like, we seen Spider-Man from some angles that we ain't seen yet. You get what I'm saying? I think he did a very good job of capturing the feel of Spider-Man. One of my favorite shots in this movie is the shot from the trailer where you see Spider-Man breathing through the mask. That's one of the most fire shots in this movie, bro. It's a scene in this movie as well too, where Peter basically finds out that MJ has a boyfriend now, and he's swinging through New York in street clothes, and it's raining, and it's just you could feel it. Like, you could feel Spider-Man, you could feel the tone is there. Like, this is a very serious, Spider-Man movie. It does have, its comedic, like, points, but this is a very, and like, the main theme of this movie as well is that, like, it's another one of those, like, mental health movies, low key, and it's like the theme of this movie is that you're not alone. You get what I'm saying? And never be afraid of help. And that's most important because it's a lot of kids that's watching this movie, a lot of middle-aged men, a lot of, like, older men, or even just women, and just humans in general that love these superhero movies. And part of not only Spider-Man but Superman, or not Superman, superhero stuff as well, is having hope, giving hope. A lot of people see these movies because to these people, like, these characters are symbols of hope. You get what I'm saying? I think a lot of people look at the movies and they see a distraction, or they see, like, oh, it's just another superhero movie. But for somebody else, this is exactly what they needed to get through the week. You get what I'm saying? I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be vulnerable for 2 seconds here. I ain't gonna lie. Last week, I was like, yeah, bro, all I got left is Spider-Man at this rate. I was just like fucking James Franco in that one meme. I gotta clip that in there. All I had left was Spider-Man, bro. But yeah, we're gonna keep talking about the rest of this movie so far. Also, this movie was very comic accurate. It really was. It's a lot of, like, just the way that this movie was shot. Like, there are scenes where, like, Peter is literally swinging into the scene. Just like, this movie was, to me, like a old. It reminded me a lot of, like, the Miles Morales Across the Spider-Man movie. I mean, Across the Multiverse movie. It was very. It was almost like an ode to Spider-Man. Like, I think it was very, very. I think it did a very good job of capturing what it meant to be Spider-Man, which is probably, like, the number one reason why I like Across the Spider-Verse, because it's a very, very good movie. It is like, what does it mean to not only be Spider-Man, but to just be a hero, just be a good guy, a guy that looks out for everybody else. And that's, like, literally, I feel like, another key part of this movie that was, like, fire. That was just a banger, man. And truthfully, like, I'm not gonna lie, bro, for a 2.5-hour movie, which is the longest live action Spider-Man movie, the pacing was actually pretty fire. I'm not gonna lie. It got straight to the point, straight to the action, made you feel the characters, the story, let you know what the stakes were, the tone of this movie. Like I said, this is a very, I don't want to say, like, serious. Like, it's not like do or die, but there are parts where it's like, whoa, I ain't gonna lie. Like, there was a few parts where I'm rubbing my head like, yo, this is cinema. This is peak, man. And I'm like, a very clever story as well. I think if you look at even, like, the characters, like, I'll get into the characters and the actors that portrayed them too, but, like, before this movie came out, they're like, all right, this is a Spider-Man movie with the Hulk, the Punisher, maybe Jean Grey, which ended up being Jean Grey, but, like, Scorpion, Tombstone, and other villains. And some of these villains did show up in, like, montage sequences, but yeah, like, for a movie with all these characters and this type of plot line, I thought that the pacing was very good. And it's a 2.5-hour movie, and it doesn't really feel like that. And I think that that's great, because I think when you look at a lot of the recent, like, Marvel movies that have been coming out recently, it's a lot of fluff. It's a lot of fluff, a lot of scenes that you could have swapped out. There are scenes that I think were cut from this movie, which we're going to talk about one in particular, because there was one cameo that I'm pretty sure that was cut from this movie that would have been like the icing on the cake. But yeah, bro, it's so much about this movie. Like, I think Peter's suit in this movie looked so good. I think that the suit in this one is probably his best suit, like, ever. It gotta be a top three Spidey suit, bro. Like, the way the colors pop on screen, I swear, bro. Once again, bro, Daniel Cretton, Daniel Destin Cretton. I know I'm butchering his name, bro, and it's so sad because he did his thing not only on this movie, but he also did his thing on Shang-Chi. We need that Shang-Chi sequel immediately. We needed that yesterday. But another thing too is that like Peter spends most of this like movie in his suit, which is fire because the movie picks up 4 years after the last movie where Doctor Strange did the spell to basically wipe everybody's memory and make everybody forget that Peter is Spider-Man. And you know, a key plot line in this story is Peter, you know, attending more to his spider side, his Spider-Man side, his Spider-Man duties than his own personal life, which basically leads to his like arachnid DNA basically like aggressively like overly mutating, and he doesn't go full like man spider or like the other I would actually say, yeah, like he doesn't really go deep into like those, but and I actually wish we actually saw a little bit more of that in the movie. I'll talk about that later, but yeah, like just like this was a Spider-Man movie. That's all I can really say up until that part. But yeah, like it definitely stands out a lot. If you put, I mean, like Fantastic Four looked amazing as well. Thunderbolts looked amazing as well. Deadpool and Wolverine was a pretty solid, but Spider-Man gotta take the cake for like just the way this movie was shot, like the cinematography, even like the angles, the tone, the coloring, like the music. Tim Impala got a song in here. Steve Lacy got a song in the credits. The credits are fire, amazing. I haven't seen nothing like the credits in a little bit. Also, Steve Lacy, why'd you try to spoil that movie for us, bro? Like, come on, bro. The album wasn't even that good for you to be doing that, bro. And I'm sorry, but yeah. I also like how the story was just very street level. You get what I'm saying? I think the last few times we've seen Peter have been No Way Home, which was like a super big multiverse crossover movie, but before that we had Far From Home, which is also dealing with the multiverse and stuff like that with Quentin Beck, Mysterio, and all of that. And then like he was in Italy. He was like in like Prague. Bro was like literally completely out the way in that movie. And then obviously Endgame and Infinity War. So it was cool to see Peter back in New York, which is crazy because they shot like a lot of this movie in like London. None of this movie was shot in New York. And it's crazy because they actually can't really shoot in New York because it's like, I don't think that they can get streets blocked off for a Spider-Man movie. Plus you got to remember, bro, like in America, spoiler culture and just like critic culture and all of that, a lot of that would have, you know, like a lot of that did take place. It was a lot of videos, and I'm pretty sure this is stuff that, you know, the director and even Tom, who actually like executively produced this movie as well, you know, with Cretton as well. And I think damn, I kind of lost my train of thought for a little bit, but I think it's nothing like a Spider-Man movie where it's boots on the ground and he's in New York being your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. In fact, like this is the most friendly neighborhood Spider-Man he's been since he's been introduced into the MCU. Maybe like except for like Homecoming, but it was still very good with keeping it street level and making sure that we're fighting villains that, you know, make sense and stuff like that. But what else we got here, bro? Yeah, I also appreciate the movie not being too MCU, if it makes sense. Like if you watch the movie, if you've seen it or if you haven't seen it and you go seen it, you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. There wasn't too much connections to like the outer MCU, except for like Yelena Belova makes a cameo in the movie. She was fire. I'm not even gonna lie, bro, she might be better than Natasha, gang, and that's another topic for another day. But shout out to Florence Pugh. She was amazing in this movie. She had like 2 cameo scenes. It was fire to see her in there and connect them to like the, you know, the new Avengers plotline and stuff like that, you know. But yeah, we're gonna get into what else I liked about the movie though. So I also very like I liked how do I say this? So I liked how Peter seemed very experienced in this movie, which I think goes without saying that he's been doing this for 4 years now with no MJ, no Ned, no Aunt May, no Tony Stark, no Happy Hogan, basically with no support. And I like that he's been doing this for so long and you can see it. You get what I'm saying? I think Tom Holland did like a very good job of demonstrating and showcasing like a Spider-Man who's basically like at wit's end, like basically fighting for his life. And there's a scene in this movie where Punisher shoots him and basically almost takes him out the map, and Jean Grey has to breathe for him, which is insane. Like, imagine getting boomed so crazy that a mutant has to creep inside of your head and breathe for you, which is super crazy. Like, another thing that I liked about the movie as well too is that, like, because of Peter's spider sense, he wasn't able to be affected by Jean Grey. I thought that was a very clever plot point. I'm like, the spider sense very strong. Like I said, the arachnid DNA basically took over for most of this movie, and it was fire. But now I want to get into, you know, a few little nitpicks that I had about the movie, a few things that I disliked about the movie. Yo, my paper is flying everywhere. I gotta put this on the paper though, because it's essential. You gotta put this in the file. You gotta save this somewhere. But one thing I will say though is that I wish we did see more of the transformation of the arachnid DNA with Spider-Man. I would have loved to see like Man Spider or like the other. And I know that for a PG-13 movie, a Spider-Man movie that is most likely gonna end up being movie of the summer, there's only so far you can go with like the body horror and stuff like that. But I wish we got to see way more of like how more vicious he became. You get what I'm saying? And I know, like, I wanted to see something sort of on par with like the symbiote. Obviously, like, if you know the symbiote story, once Peter gets a hold of the symbiote, it's like evil Peter. He ready to catch bodies left and right, which there were a few moments in this story where he did sort of lose himself. There's a scene in this movie where he's fighting Scorpion, who's being controlled by Jean Grey. Jean Grey says some things and Peter basically loses it. He like slams Scorpion into like a police car and almost kills a cop, to the point where like the police captain in this movie, played by Liza Colon, I do not know Spanish, please do not kill me. Jean DeWolf is her character. Jean DeWolf is a police captain in this movie, and she's like, yo, you go home, like, you're basically losing it. And to basically, like, Spider-Man is a guy who doesn't kill and definitely doesn't kill cops. So to see him get to that point, it was like fire, but it was like, yo, I also wish we got to see a lot more of that. And also talking about, you know, what I wish I saw more of, I definitely wish that we saw a little bit more of Jean Grey, what she could do in this movie. Obviously, you know, as a telepath and as like, I'm pretty sure she's an Omega level mutant, right? Somebody gotta fact check me on that. Jean Grey, is she a Omega level mutant? I wish we saw a lot more. It was just like, in this movie, all she did was literally just like mind control people. And as cool as that was, I wish we saw a lot more of like what else she can do. You get what I'm saying? Like, I want to see her move some objects. I want to see her, I don't know, do some astral projections. Stuff that I know that she can do. But like, nevertheless, I do think I'm looking around a little bit. I gotta check out my surroundings. But you know, I do wish we saw a little bit more of what else she can do in this movie. But I do think that Sadie Sink was very good as Jean Grey in this movie. I'll talk about a little bit more about that later. But also, like, in the beginning of this movie, there's a montage scene where Spider-Man fights Tarantula and Boomerang and Tombstone. But like, other than that, I mean, like, he fights Scorpion, who is being mind controlled at certain points in the story through Jean Grey, or like by Jean Grey. And I wish we saw a little bit more of like Spider-Man just fighting his own villains. I think one thing that I did see a lot of, like, you know, feedback on after, you know, going through Twitter and social media and stuff like that, a lot of people like, damn, we 4 Spider-Man movies in and Spider-Man has not fought an original villain yet. I'm like, bro, Mysterio was just right there, bro. Like, he was just right there. But I do hope that for the 5th movie, they do go with like Jackal or, I don't know, Hobgoblin. Like, there's still a few characters for Spider-Man to go. And truthfully, like, if we want to be honest, yo, it might be enough characters for them to do like a Sinister Six still, like an MCU version of a Sinister Six. I'm over here stumbling over my words. It's too early. It's like 10:30, 11 o'clock now. But it's still some stuff there, and I definitely hope for that next movie we definitely get, you know, like a more organic Spider-Man villain. And that's not to undermine or like belittle Jean Grey at all. I think she did what she had to do this movie. Her backstory was very solid. Truthfully, like, I've been hearing nothing but like good stuff about this movie, and I cannot wait to see her and the other mutants again. I know I think Beast, Emma Frost, Cyclops, like, they all just got casted like within the last 2 weeks. So very excited to see the next X-Men movie. But I'm gonna keep going. What else we gotta talk about? Oh yeah, talking about scenes that were cut. There was a scene confirmed by Rosario Dawson, who plays Claire Temple in the Netflix series, who's like a well-known MCU, like, or not MCU, like Marvel doctor, and usually helps out with like the street level, you know, vigilantes and heroes and stuff like that. She had a scene in this movie, and there's a scene in this movie where, like I said before, Punisher snipes Spider-Man, right? And it would have been a perfect opportunity to put her into that movie, put her into that scene, because she was in, I think she was in like the Netflix series a lot. She was in there a good amount, and she said that she filmed a scene for that movie, and for some reason it didn't make it in there. There were also like more scenes of him like swinging through New York, fighting, you know, like sort of like going against Jean Grey inside of the tank. Just a lot of stuff that came out, you know, in the process of filming that was cut from this movie that I wish that we would have continued to see. But nevertheless, yeah, there were also like a few plot holes in this movie. Like, Spider-Man has a $1,200 phone with no job. Like, we don't see him work a job. We don't see him chase a bag not once in this movie, bro. Like, and then he also has like a super like setup in his apartment, right? Like, he lives in like an asbestos filled like attic apartment sort of situation, janitor closet type, storage closet type thing. But like, yo, his setup in there is crazy. Like, he got like 3 screens, and there's just one part of this movie that is a little bit like, how do I say this? So there's a part in this movie where, or several parts of this movie where Peter uses a certain surveillance technology to track down Jean Grey. And truthfully, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, obviously, I'm not gonna get too much into like real world stuff. We're talking about Spider-Man here, but like Peter having surveillance on like the whole New York, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know. I'm like, Spider-Man would definitely be one to protect New Yorkers and just humans in general's, you know, privacy and stuff like that. So like him having like surveillance to go anywhere and look at anybody, and they really only use it to track down Jean Grey. But I don't know. I feel like there was a better way that they could have showed that. But I mean, nevertheless, I still think that it was still like a good story. But next, yeah, like Punisher being able to just free roam at certain times in his story, as if that man is not a wanted fugitive, a wanted criminal, is crazy. I mean, like, some of these plot holes are things where if it's like, okay, like if you're just like a casual viewer, or even if you're like a Spider fan, a Spider lover, I don't think that it'll really, like, that didn't ruin the experience for me. It was just a few things that I picked up on, like, okay, Spider-Man is losing a Samsung Galaxy Flip Z, I think that's what it's called. Yeah, that's like a $1,200, $1,300 phone. Like, and then he has like a super crazy setup, and the Punisher's just free roaming. Like, I mean, these are things that don't really tear the story in parts, but it's like, I mean, I guess I could let y'all rock on that one. But what else we got, man? Yeah, bro, where was J. Jonah Jameson? I think that was like one of the few things in this movie that was missing. J. Jonah Jameson. It was definitely, I feel like it was definitely a few parts where they could have put him in there. He was in No Way Home. He was very good in that. I'm surprised we didn't see, what's the guy's real name? I forgot his name. He also plays like Omni-Man, I think. I forgot, but I would have loved to see him in this movie. Once again, just like a little nitpick, not something that completely ruins the story, but like, if we're talking about like a comic accurate, this is the most comic accurate story for Spider-Man, and there's no J. Jonah Jameson, right? But also, like, another thing that I thought was like very interesting as well is there are a lot of ad placements in this movie, right? Like, there's scenes where like Spider-Man's eating Little Caesars. There's scenes where you can see him swinging through the park, and then you see like a big old like BMW advertisement. There was like another scene where what was it? Tom Holland has his own beer. It's called like Beero or something like that. There's literally a scene where he's in a bodega, and like it's just like clear as day. It's like Spider-Man's right here, beer placement right here. It was just crazy. Like, some of the ad placements in here were crazy, but also it's like the movie of the summer. I know that like the ads and the ad placements are basically what helps these studios make some of these movies, and gives them extra money to do more with the story and more with the sets and everything like that. And that's another thing too, bro. The sets for this movie were fire. Like I said, most of this movie, or like this whole movie, takes place in New York, by the way. And yeah, like not one of these, like there wasn't like one scene in this movie where I'm like, oh my God, like you can obviously tell that this is a green screen or a blue screen and this looks atrocious. No, like this movie looked great. And I mean that with every word. The paper's upside down. I mean that with every word. But let's get into the characters and the actors, man. I talked about it a little bit, but man, Tom Holland did a great job as Spider-Man. Like, it feels like he sort of mastered this version of Peter Parker. You get what I'm saying? I think there was a few times where like he had like a New York accent where he would be like, hey, what's going on, man? Like, I can't do a New York accent. I won't disrespect New York like that. New York like my second home. I'm gonna be 100% real. See, here we go to the video where the part of the video where I start capping, talking about New York, my second home, bro. Connecticut born and raised, man. Shout out to the A60. But yeah, I like I said, he was an executive producer on this. You can definitely tell that he's at a point with this character now where he's sort of where like like RDJ is with like Iron Man, or it's up for debate if he's like the best Spider-Man or not. But one thing you cannot debate is his passion, his devotion, his commitment to this character. I think you see that a lot in this movie. Just like I it's a part of me that want to say like you can almost tell that they couldn't wait to get to this older, like more independent, more just natural Spider-Man, and sort of pivot away from like the high schooler that's like sort of like under Tony's in the Avengers shadow. But man, Tom Holland killed it in this movie, bro. Like I said, his suit just popped on screen. I think this is an all-timer. I definitely think the movie already did $1 billion like first week, and I definitely think that we are for sure gonna most likely get another trilogy. There's like no way we don't. Like I said, bro, this movie made $1 billion first weekend. Like just like pat yourself on the back. Y'all got to, bro. Like just a banger of a movie. But next we can talk about Zendaya. I do think that this is her best performance as MJ so far. I think that she has had a because I don't think they've told like a MJ story with her in high school. And I think because I'm trying to remember if like Tobey's trilogy had MJ in high school. I don't really remember. I think they had her around that same, like they were around the same in high school too, but I think that like MJ is another character who I feel like they can have the most range with, have the most fun with, if she's a little bit older and is, around that same age as Peter Parker as well. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like Zendaya acted her ass off, bro. It was one scene where and like I said, spoilers. There was one scene where Peter and MJ are on top of a roof, right? And this is before Peter sort of opens up to her and tries to tell her like, yo, a few years ago we known each other before I had to get Doctor Strange to erase everybody's mind. And in this scene, Peter and MJ kiss, right? And in that scene, they kiss and, they sort of back up off of each other for a little bit. And she's like, Peter. And he's like, oh my God, you remember me? And they're rejoicing. He's like, oh my God, I thought I lost you. I love you. You mean everything to me. And then like she hugs him and MJ is like, Yeah, go ahead and hug her. Yeah, you know you love her. And the whole time it was Jean Grey. Like the whole time it was Jean Grey controlling him. And I'm like, yo, first of all, like the acting in the scene by Zendaya was just like insane, right? Like shout out to her. But I'm like, yo, like, ugh, like that was just insane and crazy. But like, shout out to Zendaya though. Shout out to Ned as well. I don't got too much to say about Ned. I do think that Ned and MJ had, or not Ned and MJ, but I do think that Zendaya and Jacob had very good chemistry with him, especially for like playing characters that have had their mind erased from the guy that's standing next to them in the scene. I think that they did a very good job. Ned, CEO of Sex, shout out to you, bro. He's in like a whole bunch of like trailers for like Liquid IV and stuff. You can tell they had so much fun with this movie, man. But yeah, also yeah, not too much to say about Ned as well. But I thought that Jon Bernthal was good as the Punisher. I think the super tough guy act, I do this because I love it. I do this because I gotta kill them. There's no other way. I think that does get tiring after a while. And I think that this movie probably gave us the best version of Jon Bernthal's Punisher. I think there was a lot of range from him, a lot of emotion, just a lot of times where I'm like, yo, yeah, we might need to get like a Punisher movie. I know we just had this special. I actually didn't watch that, and who knows, maybe that some of that came from the special, but I thought that he was fire as that as well. Let me see. Let me read the rest of these notes. Yeah, like I'm happy that they just didn't turn him into like a terrible, just tough guy. He definitely showed some time. There was a scene, like I said, there's a scene where Punisher snipes Spider-Man, and then Punisher takes him to the hospital, and then sort of to like disguise Peter and give him a way to like a distraction to like leave the hospital. Punisher puts on the Spider-Man mask, my bad. And he's like dancing in the window, and everybody's like, yo, look, there's Spider-Man. And you know, it was a cool scene and all of that. But yeah, I thought Jon Bernthal was good. Sadie Sink was good as Jean Grey as well. Like I said, I can't wait to see her in the X-Men project. She for sure did her thing. They gave her a little bit of a backstory, which was cool as well. Yeah, she's gonna be amazing. She's gonna kill it. She was pretty good in this movie. A lot of people think that she was too evil. Man, the villain's gotta be evil, bro. That's part of this whole thing. Like, we talking Doctor Doom, Thanos, Joker. We talking like freaking Darth Vader. Like, we talking, most villains, bro, are evil. That's the point. Like, I don't get it. But Tremel Tillman was good. I wish we saw a little bit more of him. I wish he played William Metzger, who's basically like the head of Damage Control. I wish we saw him do a little bit more villainous stuff. But like this whole movie, he basically backdoored Spider-Man. And he basically led Spider-Man to create a universal inhibitor chip that was was basically used to stop Jean Grey. So I'm very curious on what this looks like going forward, because I know Magneto not about to be happy about that. I know Cyclops not about to be happy about that. Like, yo, he literally built like a mutant stopping device in this movie, and with the help of Damage Control. I'm talking about Spider-Man, by the way. And yeah, just crazy. Like, I can't wait to see how they pay that off. If they will pay that off, I hope they do. But also one more person I wanted to talk about was Liza Colon Zayas. Yeah, she was a very nice police captain. I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more of her. I thought she definitely did her job. A lot of like the best scenes in this movie were between her and Spider-Man, talking about, you know, his personal life, needing to lean on other people more and let other people in. And like I said, mental health movie. Don't ever think that you're alone. You know, it's always help out there. It's always services and stuff like that. But yeah, man, just an all-time great movie. Just a great banger. My girl going to go see the movie today with her friend. I'm tight because I want to go see this movie again for the third time. I ain't gonna lie, if I had to give this movie a rating, bro, let's give it like a 9 out of 10. 9 thwips. Thwip, 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 thwip. That was terrible, man. But this has been my review of Spider-Man Brand New Day. Let me know what y'all think about the movie, man. Like I said, I can't wait for the X-Men movie. Can't wait for the next Spider-Man movie. I hope y'all like, share, subscribe. And I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. I ain't gonna take up too much of y'all time, man. I hope y'all enjoyed this. Thank you for watching this video. I will be more consistent going forward. That's it, bro. Cut the video, Mike.